Hi everyone, this is Sam from Mindful Origami. I haven't posted in a long time, and the reason why is we've been busy. Um, Last year I started the Amsterdam Origami Club, and yesterday was one of our first intermediate workshops where we taught a relatively advanced model, the Kawasaki Rose. So, story goes for me personally is that about 25 years ago, I originally saw this Kawasaki Rose. And it was beautiful. I wanted to learn how to make it. My friend knew how to make it, but he refused to teach me for some reason. At that time, the internet was quite young, so I went online and started searching for a diagram. I eventually came across the PDF diagram for the new Kawasaki Rose, which is this one. Unfortunately, back then, there was only one instruction online, and I found the instructions to be very confusing. So I never actually completed that flower at the time. But what happened was I eventually created my slight variation of it by simplifying it, and it ended up making this. And I call this a new Kawasaki Rosebud because it's a little bit taller and kind of slimmer. And if you actually change the pleats and petals, you can make them looking slightly different. So if you look at this one, it's quite geometric. But if you these ones, these are softened a bit with like more pleats and curves. So today I'm going to show you how to make my variation of the new Kawasaki Rose. Okay, so let's put these away. So we're going to begin with a 20 by 20 cm piece of paper. And you can use like double-sided, but I'm using single-sided. If you are using single-sided, what I suggest you do is just to mark one side with something, just so you know which side you're on. And we're going to start by folding both diagonals. Now, the initial diagonals are critical. If they're not precise, then they affect all of the folds alignment later on. So take your time with the first fold. You're going to fold the bottom corner to the top. Make sure you're the corner and the edge aligned. Run your finger down the middle. Make a crease to the left and the right. And make sure the crease is nice and sharp. Okay, I'm going to use this little Nando's card as a folding tool to make sure the crease is nice and sharp. Okay, once you've done that, open it up, rotate through 90 degrees, and repeat. And again, make sure you get the corner to line, get the edge to line as much as possible. Oh, there we go. Run your finger in the middle, make a crease to the left, and a crease to the right. And I can't overemphasize how sharp the creases need to be. If the crease is not sharp, you will find it very difficult later on. And the paper you choose should be able to hold a crisp crease. If it's like that slightly softer paper, that's almost like fabric, use something else. Okay, I'm going to turn it over. And what we're going to do now is we're going to fold. Actually, no, open it back up first. So we're going to fold this right edge to line up with that middle crease. Now, the reason why I'm keeping this one here is so that we know which side we're on, because as I'm using like single colored paper on both sides. So again, you're going to line up the corner, line up the edge as precisely as you can. Make a nice sharp crease. Flip it over and repeat on the other side. Okay, open up a bit, like so. We're now going to fold it through the horizontal. So we're going to fold this edge to the top edge. This little bit will flip over, which is perfectly fine. Again, line up the edges, hold the middle tightly, make a crease through the middle to the left and right. We're now going to fold these little triangle sections, and the best way to use that is just use your nail and just gently indent across that existing edge underneath, and it will allow you to fold that little triangle section up, turn it over, and repeat. Okay, we'll turn it over again. We're now going to fold this bottom edge to the top, but before we do that, we're only folding this layer. But we have to hold down this little section. But if we don't, if we try to fold it, you'll see that this entire section moves forward, and we don't want that to happen. So hold your finger against this edge so it doesn't move. Use both your thumbs to fold this section over. Line up the edge along to the right side, and again, make a crease and flatten it well. Repeat on the back. Turn it over, again, hold that little section so it doesn't shift. Make the crease and fold. I'm going to fold it in half again. So this time I'm going to fold this section over. And again, if you hold onto the edge with both fingers and use both thumbs to fold, it should not shift too much, he says. Make a nice sharp crease, and then turn over and repeat. Okay, good. We're now going to open it back up to the square. So just pull it all the way open. Just flatten it out a bit, so it lies flat. So what we have created is basically a 16 grid, and we're trying to make a 16 by 16 square grid. And if you have a look at the paper right now, the existing creases are running vertical. We need to make horizontal creases that run at 90 degrees. So if you actually have the paper, again, face up, you repeat the same fold, this right edge, to fold to the center crease that is diagonal. Now, to help you get the correct alignment, I will fold it in half like this. And you need to fold this right edge to create the 90-degree angle. If you fold on this side, you'll get like diamond shapes, and that's not what you want. So you've got to make sure that when you're folding this edge, when you make that crease, you'll see that you get a 90-degree angle against the existing creases you created. And you actually have to follow the side I'm doing. If you mirror me, you will get a mirror image of the model I'm making. And what will happen is, see this swirl that you create, it will be mirrored and it go the other way around, which you can do if you want, but it just makes it harder for you to follow my video. Okay, turn it over and repeat exactly the same crease. And we're going to repeat the last 3 or 4 crease folds to create that 16 by 16 grid. Open it up, and then you're going to repeat the last couple of folds where you create the thin pieces across. Turn it over and repeat. Again, use your fingernail, thumbnail to make a dent and fold it across. Turn it around, hold that section and fold it up. Don't worry too much if you find that this little section here does shift a little bit. It won't impact the model too much unless it's really a lot. And then finally, keep the final one on the back. Okay, and again, make sure it's nice and crisp folds. Okay, that's it for the creation of the grid. If you open it back up, what you should see is this square grid that's been created. Yeah. Okay. So what we now need to do is locate the very center and the horizontal there and there, and the vertical there and there. Okay. Let me draw them. So you find a center point. You're going to fold it through the horizontal, then fold it through the vertical. And there is this little square here. That's the first square section here. We're going to fold that point to that point through the center here. So just fold it over. Make sure it's nice and sharp. Okay. Then we're going to open it back up and just inside reverse it. So open it up, just push it in, and then pinch it together closed. And again, make sure you make it nice and sharp. Okay. Open up the model again completely. And what you will see is you've created this square in the middle. And we're now going to sink that in. There's several ways of doing it, but I think this is probably the best way. So make sure this horizontal is reinforced. Then also reinforce the vertical. And what you want to do is hold it so that it's kind of in half. Move your fingers almost to the center, but stop at, I guess, square number 2. Stop there. You're going to go underneath the model and you're going to push that square flat. So it plateaus. Move your finger closer and you're going to push it in. So it kind of sinks in. Use your left hand, move your fingers across to here, and when you pinch it together, it should collapse. And you push them together, it will collapse like so. You then want to push this side to the left and the bottom to the right. and flatten it. You're then going to open it, and you're going to open it on this section here. So you fold this part open, flip it over, and you repeat this section here. It will open like the vanes of a windmill. Okay. We're now going to turn it over, and we're going to do some, actually we're actually not going to turn it over. We're now going to make some other pre-creases. So all we're going to do is recrease this section here. So above this vane, all we're doing is folding this over. And you only need to fold it from this point to the outer edge. Okay, and you're going to repeat on the remaining 3 lanes. So remember, you're not creating new creases, you're just reinforcing the existing crease that you made underneath. Okay. Once you've done that, turn it over, and the next crease you're going to make is a diagonal crease that goes from here and goes diagonally across. So by the very center of the model, this is 1 square across. And it's basically 1 down, 1 to the left. This is the point where you are creating your crease, and it runs at a 45-degree angle to this vertical and horizontal. And you're folding this edge so it lines up with that edge. And make a nice sharp crease. Okay, so the easiest way for you to find where that is find the very center, go 1 square down, 1 square to the left. That's the beginning point. Then it's a diagonal crease from there to there, and it runs from this vertical to this horizontal. And you're going to repeat that on, again, all the other sides. Okay. So once you've done that, our next crease is going to be this one. You created a valley fold on these 4 points. We're going to actually reverse those and turn it into mountain folds. But before we do that, to make it a little bit easier, if you turn it over, these were the creases you created just a second ago. We're just going to reinforce those. So you just, from the other side, just gently reinforce those. And as you do, the model starts taking a slightly 3-dimensional, almost like bowl shape, like so. If you turn it over now, we're going to turn these little points that you created into mountain folds. So all you need to do is pinch that into a mountain fold. And it's just this top layer. Okay. Now, once you've done that, you'll see that there's kind of a square plateau there. And if you basically push these in and these in, it will form almost like a square box. Okay, and if you look underneath, if you reinforce these ones again, what will happen is they will start to twist and collapse and concertina almost. So push these 4 bits in. Then what I'm going to do is push this one down, then repeat and go around. And as they go around, it will kind of wrap around the square. You also want to make sure that underneath it doesn't get crumpled, so you just gently kind of straighten those bits. It will start conforming to the size of the square. And you push them all in and basically hold it like you're holding a tube. You'll see that the top is like a square box, and it creates a square kind of tube. And on the inside is also a square section as well. What you want to do is just put your finger into the bottom of the box to smooth it out, and then run your finger along each of the sides. See where you've got these like diagonal creases? Just reinforce them on the inside. Just gently reinforce them by just running your fingers and just basically pinching it flat and pulling it out. And again, repeat on all the 4 sides. So push your finger all the way into the box, locate where the existing folds are, and just reinforce them on the inside. Yeah. And you find that it creates a quite sturdy kind of square base tube. What we're going to do next is now turn it over to the other side, and we're going to work on this section here. If you look on this edge, you will see that there is this crease across here. Across here. And you're going to fold that first. Repeat on all the remaining sides. Now, this is a fold just to help you along. You don't actually have to do this if you don't want to, but it just makes life easier for this video. So once you fold this point in, bring back up and again inside reverse it. Open it up, push that down onto the inside and flatten it. And then repeat on the other sides. Yeah, make sure it's nice and flat. I'm going to now draw a box. So this was the triangle section that we just folded over, and then we fold it into the inside to reverse. You'll find out on this side of the tube, there's a box. And we're going to make a crease that runs from this corner to this corner. And from the top, we actually have to pinch this entire like right angle section, like so. We pinch it, and then we're going to fold this edge across and over and pinch it. So you need to pinch it from this diagonal all the way across, and then also reinforce the bottom and side of that triangle. Then release. We're going to go to rotate it and repeat exactly the same thing for the next section. So again, locate the square, and we're going to create this diagonal crease. And to do that, we're going to pinch the top and that, like this top side and this right side, pinch it flat, and then fold that entire section over so it lines up with the bottom of the square part here. Now, the reason why we're doing this is that we're going to repeat this on all the other sides, and what this will create is a twist and collapsing base, a square base. So you see when you push this in, it will kind of collapse to one side, and you can repeat that on all the other sides. So then you just pinch this section here, fold it across, pinch the top of it, make sure you flatten it all the way down as much as you can, and repeat. Now you may need to go repeat this, like go around the model and just keep repeating the same fold. So now we've gone round once and we've created that crease on all the sides. If I keep repeating it, I go over this one, will start overlapping with this one. Okay, unfold it, and then like stagger fold it, like basically do one, fold the next one, release. Do this one, fold this one, release. And eventually what you will see is that they will start all collapsing on top of each other until they form like a spiral locking, I guess, top. See, so let me unfold that for you. You might have seen these in those kind of gift boxes where if you just twist it, all of the sides will start collapsing in. And that will create the bottom of the base of the rose. Okay, so to help you along, just to flatten that, you take the side edge of a card and push it into the model, and you can flatten it against the table. It's broken that. You can flatten it against the table, and that will give you a much more solid and a more flat base. And that pretty much completes the flower, my new Kawasaki Rosebud variant. It looks very square right now, but to make it more naturally rounded, you actually have to do some finishing. So to do that, I will use this pair of tweezers. And you, first of all, you're just going to lift this little square section and just bring it up. And then repeat. And this will start creating the inner petals of the flower. Okay. Then you want to run the tweezer just along this diagonal. So sometimes the paper will kind of bulge upwards, and you don't want that. So just run it along the diagonal. So from that corner to the opposing corner, just almost like you're drawing a line. And then if you lift this section, the inner petals will be revealed. And then you need to run. You can use a wood skewer or chopstick or whatever to curve the rose so it's not so geometric. Okay. And then you can curl these petals along here. So you can just fold those outwards. You can use a wood skewer and you can just roll that outer edge so it gives it a curve rather than a straight crease. And you can also curl the bottom petals as well. And if you want to create this type of flower, you basically create more pleats and folds into the edge of this. But I will show you those in a different video. But that's my new Kawasaki Rosebud. Thank you.